NAC is back. NAC is back.
NAC is back. It's been a minute, but
we just keep clicking out here, you know.
Just keep clicking, maybe.
Just keep clicking.
We were clicking in Sun Valley. We were clicking in Denver. I was clicking at the Sphere this weekend.
A lot.
Yeah, what happened at the Sphere this weekend? How was the show?
It was great. We saw a little Anima John Summit action. It really broke down my expectations of live music. I will say it's my first Dome show since seeing Angel Baby at the Dome.
Let's go. The
South
OG
by
Dome
Southwest.
show, boy.
That's a great
And I will
artist.
say that what I did like about the Hume Dome show is that it was full 360. With the Sphere, it was more or less 360, but maybe like a 290. There was like a section at the top that was kind of blocked off. But as I was in that show, I was like, Hume did it first. Hume did it first.
It sounds like you're saying Hume did it better. We just need Anima level visuals, you know?
I think Hume did it better for maybe the 5 minutes of the performance. But, you know, I think the cool thing about Anima is that it was literally a movie where there was like acts and different scenes. There was a whole narrative, which actually, David, you would appreciate this. The narrative of the show was the merger of humans with artificial intelligence.
Really?
Yeah, that was the whole storyline. And
as
somebody who's very agentic like you, I thought you would appreciate that as the leading story of the show.
Was it immersive?
It was immersive. It was captivating. It was immersive. It was agentic. It was all the great things you could ask for in life.
In all seriousness, I really want to go to that show. And I still haven't been to the Sphere. I got to get my ass over there.
Well, it was the last one, so good luck.
No, but there's going to be other Sphere shows. That was the last Anima show. Yeah.
Last Anima one. Yeah.
The problem is that me and David were just busy at EthDenver over the weekend. We got some good quality time, David.
I thought we had a great time.
We had a great time. What was
Lucas has a girlfriend.
That's true.
That I met. I don't know if that's
Lucas has a girlfriend. That's the tagline.
Shout
out Porter.
Oh.
Yeah.
That should be a bullet in the description somewhere.
Yes.
Lucas has a girlfriend.
Lucas has a girlfriend.
For recap.
Well, ETH is going down, so I think it's important to highlight that
if
is
anybody
still the
was
case.
wondering,
It's
Lucas
still
has
possible.
a girlfriend. Yeah.
It's still possible, fellas.
Yeah. He did it. He did it first.
David, how was your EthDenver experience? I know you were there all week. I was only there for about 48 hours. What was your takeaway, big dog?
My main takeaway from EthDenver was if we don't watch out, everybody's going to be right that crypto people are losers. That was actually my takeaway. Like, we're all there. It's the same people. There were not a lot of young people there, not a lot of like college or like super early 20s people there. We're all there talking about the same things. Walked around the ETH conference area, saw a bunch of L1s that mostly don't have users. And I'm not trying to like I know a lot of people on Twitter have just like shat on EthDenver and been like it was so bad. The good part, like the positive part, is like there were tons of real builders and quality people there that want to build things. But what I'm trying to get across by being a little provocative is like we are at a fork in the road, and it's like we can't expect people to come and build with us on hopes and dreams anymore. It's got to be fundamentals. I think we're officially in the era of fundamentals. That was my positive framing of EthDenver. We're entering the era of fundamentals.
What's your take, Coop?
I was going to say fundamentals and culture. You know, I think that your point about like young, exciting new people coming into the space is that when we were chatting about this weekend, you mentioned that the conversations didn't feel like they'd be enticing to like new people or be like stimulating in the same way that maybe NFTs were in 2021 in terms of like the fusion of art and tech. And it feels like right now a lot of the user base is so tech driven still and so like crypto focused that it doesn't feel like there's a real potential for there to be like, oh, someone new wanting to come to EthDenver because there feels like there's any cultural value in going and meeting those builders. You're basically just like, there's enough builders. I'm pretty sure that's what you said to me in Malibu, was like, there's enough fucking builders. We don't need more builders. We need like everyone else who's not a builder to actually use the shit that we're building.
And I think the other thing is like, we used to be upstream from culture. Like a lot of people took ideas from crypto and applied them in Web 2, or it just felt like crypto was ahead of the trend. And now it feels like we might be behind some of the trends. And I think this ties to some of this, like, I'm going to jump around, but like the crypto reserve stuff, like I think we're also suffering a little bit from a lot of people who've been in crypto are used to being in a like underdog mindset. And it's like, we're not the underdogs. Like the president's talking about a reserve. Let's look at this tweet, but we're not the underdogs.
Lucas?
Yeah, I mean, I think this tweet's pretty much outlining Soda from Sonium, one of the founders or CEOs of Sonium, about how effectively everyone's still building for existing crypto users and not really trying to expand outwards, and that there's just still this need for building for mass adoption and securing distribution, right? And I think that's kind of just ties into the exact conversation that it's kind of like the same people, the same users, all kind of just circle jerking around. And it's really time to expand outwards and look outwards and really trying to push the needle here, or the envelope, into new frontiers.
My boy Soda. Shout out Soda.
Oh.
Look at that. I felt this on a spiritual level.
Tell us
Shout
more.
out.
Well, we had our second drop with Sonium go live this last week. Roki, first song of 2025, released an exclusive song and music video using all the latest tools in AI video creation. This one was called Neo 2, I want to say.
VO.
Don't quote me on VO2. And we were really excited about our last drop with Sonium. It ended up being the biggest mint we've ever had on Coop Records to date. And we're running it back. This new drop has 2,500 mints in the first week of going live. That's all without running any quest or paid campaigns on the Coop Records side. And so obviously I do expect there to be mint fatigue at some point, but I have been very impressed by how much the Sonova team and the Sonium team has gotten behind the collections we've been doing together. And I'm just excited to keep expanding into this world because it does feel like they're taking the real world user adoption very seriously. And when I look at other products in the Sonium ecosystem, it feels like, they're basically at the forefront of this whole like consumer crypto chain cycle where it's like Base, Abstract, Sonium are the first kind of three that come to mind on the EVM side. But I think there's still a lot to be unpacked here.
I also want to shout out the Roki team for two things. One, being really bold and just admitting that their work is AI and being driven by AI. It takes a lot of people don't realize this because we're in the crypto bubble, but for artists, it takes a lot of courage and like really being a forward thinker to say, hey, I'm using these tools and I'm going to openly say that this is an AI music video, which I think it says like straight up on top of that title. So shout out to the Roki guys there. And then also, it's a really great video, and I like hats off to them. It's a really cool video. You should play part of it. Like this definitely wasn't just what I think people still don't understand is like these guys didn't just like click a button and get 3 minutes of video. This probably took like at least 2 days to generate all this, edit it, put it together. And the VO2 model is pretty sick. But shout out to the Roki guys.
Shout out to the Roki guys.
I have a question, Coop. I think does Roki have a Japanese presence? Because I know the first drop was a pretty Japanese forward artist. So I'm just curious if this was kind of the same lens or different demographics here.
They made the entire episode in Japan. And so they were based there for about 6 months making this. And a lot of the story and the whole character arc is very influenced by like anime shows and just like anime culture in general. And so we obviously want to keep expanding our footprint in that market as much as possible. And so following the first drop with the Tokyo-based DJ that we had, this felt like the most logical next step just to kind of keep tapping into that culture and market as much as possible.
Nice. Shifting gears, Coop, you did mention, one of the other consumer chains right now is Abstract. We're about 30 days, maybe plus now, since mainnet launch. How are you guys feeling about this? Has anyone been using Abstract like normally, regularly? Obviously, any updates on like the builder side? Are you guys deploying drops on this on Abstract? Where are you guys at right now?
No, haven't interacted, haven't engaged, don't know what's going on there. Would like to, but haven't given it the time of day just yet.
I played a bunch of the games the other week. I got some on-chain heroes. I went and battled them. I'm training a couple right now. Played around with multiplier a little bit. Played around with this like dungeon game. I'm forgetting the exact name of it. but there was basically like a flash badge opportunity that they had on like the profile where you could go and set up an account on a game and you got kind of this flash badge in your abstract profile. Checked out some of the streams, nothing that was too compelling to me, but I do think the UX around a lot of their games is very sleek once you actually get used to like the abstract global wallet. I definitely hit a pretty big snag buying a on-chain hero on Magic Eden with my MetaMask wallet, my Phantom wallet, whatever you want to call it, and then having to send that from MetaMask to my abstract global wallet to play the game was like, maybe want to blow my brains out. But I think that I'm the anomaly. I don't think that I'm the user they're trying to solve for. They're trying to reach normal people, and normal people will never have that problem. So I was also in the back of my mind just saying like, I can't be angry about this because I am the anomaly. I am not like the target user.
Wait, but how would you expect like normal people to be getting that hero or that NFT that you had to bridge over?
They would already start from their abstract global wallet. So for me, when I had ETH that I was using to buy the hero, because it was like 0.4 ETH or something like that, it was just in my regular wallet. And I didn't think enough. I just relayed from base over to abstract 1-to-1 from my main wallet and then just bought it from my main wallet. And I was like, oh shit, my main wallet's not my abstract global wallet. I have to send this to my smart wallet basically. And transfers were all fucked up. So it was just the whole thing. But I figured it out at the end of the day. It was just a little clunky.
How do you think about the Coop Rex strategy for deploying cross-chain, like particularly on abstract? I know you're doing Sonium, obviously very big on Base. You've been experimenting on Solana as well. Although Base, I feel like, is your strongest footprint. And now potentially Sonium is on the rise. How do you think of abstract in that? I also think about it from Blueprint's perspective too.
All new chains I view as MVPs until there's a belief that there's something consistent and sustainable to them. And so I start with one-off collections that are very much on a third party. So for example, on Sonium, we're dropping through Sonova, which is an NFT marketplace. Now that we've seen that there is demand there in some regards, we are now actively exploring deploying Coop Records contracts on Sonium directly. And so right now I've been using Sound for all of our mints on Base. What's happening in the background is that we're working on our own minting protocol that'll go live on Base to start, but then eventually expand to other EVM protocols. And if I like really zoom out, what I want to have happen is that internally we have some way of being able to know if you minted on abstract, Base, Sonium, etc. They all kind of live under the same collection. And if there is like a limited edition collection of say 10,000, if there's one mint on abstract, that should also count towards the total mint count for that drop. So instead of there being like 10,000 editions on Base, 10,000 editions on abstract, and 10,000 editions on Sonium for 30,000 total, it should all kind of exist in this one kind of wormhole type solution where you can see, okay, there's 5,000 editions currently on Base, there's 3,000 currently on abstract, and there's 2,000 on Sonium. And you're almost viewing these chains as like the new distribution music platforms in the same way you would like Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon, and Coop Records is kind of just like the home base to be able to collect earnings across all those different ecosystems.
Overcomplicating it.
What's that? No, I was muted. What'd you say?
I was just saying overcomplicated. I think just do it on one chain, I don't know. But
that's your honest take? You think Pods is only going to be on Base forever?
I think we'll have a primary chain for the most part, and then maybe we're doing like one-off special drops on other chains, specifically like with interviews around like that ecosystem. And it would be a specific podcast, kind of more like maybe Blueprint style there. But I don't think, unless there's significant demand from creators, I don't think we'd try and deploy to another chain.
I think we're all going to be multi-chain, and there's going to be a big push for wallets to be like one click, and you don't even need to like say what chain you're on, and it's just like all EVM compatible.
Fair. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think all this just like brought up this tweet, which was a reply to Jason Yanowitz, pretty much calling out Blackbird and their new like custom L3 with Arbitrum settled to Base, powered by Conduit. And someone replied, "This is how you onboard the masses. I've always dreamed of paying for dinner using a custom L3 built with Arbitrum settled to Base, powered by Conduit." And that's kind of just the vibe I'm getting of like, who the fuck cares? Like, no one's actually going to care about this at the end. And I know like everyone says that, but I don't know. You just deploying to different chains feels like a shorter term strategy, from my opinion.
I don't know. I really want to go to dinner on a custom with a custom L3 build with Arbitrum settled to Base, powered by Conduit.
How does that even work?
I think you guys are really underselling the fact that real people will come in through different chains in the years to come. Not everyone's just going to come to Base and just be a crypto user like we are, where we jump around to these different chains. Like Sonium has a very different demographic of users from Base, and Arbitrum will have a very different demographic of users from Base given a long enough time horizon.
Right. I think it's a distribution game at the end of the day, right? And like who can attract those people. But I think that there are way better ways to abstract, funny, this stuff away from the user, so it doesn't really matter where you're publishing.
But that's our job as Coop Records, is to abstract it away to still make it possible for these users to buy it. And on the back end, because we need to be able to have synergy amongst like our songs. Like if we end up having a deployment on Abstract that's separate from Base, that's separate from Sonium, that's a whole fragmented collecting experience. And so that's why we need to create something that feels, if you're buying a song on Abstract, you don't know what chain you're on. It's just one of 10,000. It's not its own instance across all these different chains.
Yeah, I think the ability to mint on that chain is fair, but like I think having that same song with the same additions tracked across multiple chains is probably where it's maybe you lose me a little bit there.
Fair enough. I don't disagree that it's complicated, but it does feel necessary if you zoom out far enough.
I think being able to mint from whatever chain you want and like pay with whatever balance you have, I think is kind of like the end game here. Not necessarily where it lives, but it's also ultimately up to like the wallets and what they'll support. You know, like yeah.
Can I take the screen? It's
No.
relevant. No screen for me.
Did you create the agenda, David?
Nope.
Okay. Just sign off, David.
So I'm gonna say this anyway.
You can have
the screen is yours.
Oh, you can give me the screen.
Yeah, of course.
Can you give me the screen? This guy.
I wouldn't do you like that. Come on.
Look at this.
We're
okay.
Friendly here.
This I thought this was really interesting. This guy's thesis: general purpose blockchains will die. Each one needs a specific use case, and they will be defined by what is built on it. 44% of web traffic runs on WordPress, yet its parent company Attica is only valued at 7.5B. 4% of internet traffic runs on Spotify, yet is valued at 165B. Similarly, blockchains at some point will be so ubiquitous, it is expected to be fast and no one will blink an eye. The edge/asymmetric outcomes no longer lies in investing in the next big L1. Instead, it's in the next app, boys. I think that, like to Cooper's point, each of these chains are going to bring different people online.
No doubt.
I've always struggled with, like, what does a specific chain look like? Like, how can there be so many different use cases for specific chains? But it's not what I'm been put on this earth to figure out.
Santiago, who helped co-found Aave, I think, or was an early investor in Aave, he announced launching his own L1 or L2 that's intentionally built for bringing like traditional businesses and bringing their commerce and all their transactions on chain, which I thought was a really cool use case. I think we talked about it on one of the previous podcasts, but that has been the most like differentiating use case that I've seen so far that attempts to bring normies or rather normie businesses on chain. I think there's a lot of hurdles, and I think we should have him on the podcast, honestly, at some point.
I'd be sick to have him on the pod.
But I think that was a really fascinating thesis and a very fascinating attempt at tackling a problem, and I'm excited to see how it pans out. Definitely the most unique problem set we've seen somebody tackle when it comes to launching a chain.
I think part of his thesis or part of his plan is also he's actually going to buy businesses. If I read it correctly, I believe he wants to acquire businesses that he feel would do well if some of their processes were converted on chain, and take existing businesses with users and put it on chain.
I love that.
I think that don't quote me on it. We need a fact checker. We need a Not A Cartel fact checker, but I'm pretty sure that was it, because that was the part I remember reading and being like, that's really interesting. Like buying businesses that are already working with users and putting them on chain. Kind of like something else we have on the agenda, huh?
Oh, Lucas, we have a good one on the agenda. I was just looking at that. Our boy, not our boy actually at all, Alexis Ohanian.
Far from our boy.
Far from our boy.
But a good boy, nonetheless.
But a good boy.
He is a good boy. He's putting in a bid to buy TikTok, and he's going to bring it on Dash Chain. I don't know what on Dash Chain is, but it sounds pretty bullish to me.
What is on Dash Chain? I see. I see what you did there, Lucas.
He was close to getting this really right. He was like so close to perfect, you know. But I think the big takeaway is the Reddit co-founder is looking to, one, buy TikTok, and two, bring it on chain and empower these creators by allowing them to own their audience, and I'd assume also monetize directly from their fans. What exactly this looks like and whether or not this bid actually goes through is two very separate questions, but users should own their data, creators should own their audience, period. And I think he kind of gets it, or at least to me, that shows that like he's very much ahead of the game and way ahead of the curve here. So I'm excited to see someone prominent like this. This might be the first instance of someone pretty prominent mentioning on-chain media, or just even the concept of bringing a media platform on-chain.
I got a question. Stir the pot here. If more Web 2 businesses and Web 2 founders come on chain, so you Alexis goes, he buys TikTok, he brings it on chain. Santiago goes, he buys some businesses, he brings them on chain. Robinhood comes on chain. In some ways, I don't know how their partnership with Arbitrum works, but I think some stuff on Arbitrum is on chain, maybe. Where does that leave crypto native founders?
Acquisition season would be my take. I don't know. That would be like the optimistic take. The pessimistic take is that we're going to get crushed. But my take, I would say the counterpoint to that is that we're crypto natives, and I think ideally we understand this significantly better than some traditional media person that might just be coming across this or has been kind of loosely involved over the years.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's like
record that. Go ahead, Lucas. Sorry.
No. I was gonna say, like, if this happens and Alexis Ohanian brings TikTok on chain, you'd assume our previous and only guest on the pod, Alex Mazmej, might do something similar, follow a similar playbook, but maybe do something a little bit more degenerate, maybe something a little bit more speculative, something that pushes the envelope a little bit more than what Alexis could do. That would be my optimistic take on how this pans out. Or ideally, it's acquisition season, though.
Yeah, someone like Alexis is like, oh, they already built half of this. Yeah. Let me just buy it and integrate it into TikTok.
TikTok's not for sale, and it's definitely not getting purchased by Alexis Ohanian. That's my take.
I think those are both fair takes. I'm not even questioning whether or not he'll actually get TikTok or who the sale will go to. It's more of the concept that someone of this caliber is thinking about this and understands where this is going.
Didn't he just announce a new venture that he's restarting, Dig?
Yeah.
Yep.
What, anybody know what that's about?
I think it's largely a revamped version of Dig. I don't think it's going to be on chain to start, but he did allude to that it was in the plans in the future. But I'd assume that there's a lot of work to get done before that.
What about that second Explore tab there? We just talked about the Dig relaunch. I'm seeing there DevCon Buenos Aires. Bullish.
November.
I'll be there.
Definitely. I'll be there too, probably. It's a high quality one.
November 25, Argentina. Sign me up.
There we go. NAC is back.
Sign me up.
The first appearance of all four of us?
Could be.
It could be.
In 6 months
pretty
from now.
close.
All four of us in the same place. Lucas, there's rumors that you might come to LA in April, though. Could be all four of us in one place.
Potentially. Maybe a live recording of the podcast.
That'd be fun.
Perhaps.
Shout out April here on the right. Relevant people, ETH Global, Dev Connect, and then April. Getting the fucking plug from X here.
April Zucci.
Bullish for our abstract chain conversation.
Fellows the creator seeks. DevRel.
You know what else got plugged this week? The Crypto Sovereign Fund, or whatever Trump announced. What is that? The Crypto Reserve Fund?
The Reserve
Fund. Memeing ADA, XRP, and Sol. And then following up shortly after being, oh no, ETH and BTC, we also love you guys too. Like that's
totally
also
included. We didn't
totally included.
Well, and then not to be a downer, but then it also being like what's actually going on, you know?
Yeah.
We still don't know what's really going on.
It was a turbulent week with the Trump administration. I feel like we had one of the most positive or like biggest bullish days or like percentage moves on the bullish side, and then also one of the biggest drawdowns on the bearish side, and like in the same week, almost. I think it was right after each other, right?
We've
I
got
wonder if crypto
volatility,
people kind
boys.
of get off on dumping on the government.
It's
I do kind of have this, like, I think I said this the other day. Like, I'm excited about the ETFs. I'm excited about the reserve, but it's not why most people originally came here.
Look, all I wanted was just like clear regulations and guidelines on what we're allowed to do in the US. That's very flexible for founders, and I think that's really all you needed.
We're
And
getting
then
there.
maybe on the reserve front, maybe you wanted to do some Bitcoin with assets already held by the government. Maybe if you were really pushing the envelope, you want to go ETH, save our bags. But I think going beyond that, it does feel like a pump my bags, we own some kind of move from the Trump administration, which wasn't my favorite thing. I think that there was definitely some pushback outside of like just like the Moon Boys being like, let's go. I think I saw a couple like smarter people kind of pushing back on why this feels corrupt would be like maybe a strong word to use, but something along those lines.
I think just in tandem with the government and crypto, I guess Trump announced some crypto summit. White House to host the first ever crypto summit on Friday. And I'm thinking to myself, how do we get an invite to that? How do we attend a crypto summit? I don't know if you guys care to do that, but I think that's so fascinating.
The list is pretty tight. I was looking at it.
Yeah, we're NGMI.
Yeah.
Haven't made it to either the crypto ball or the crypto summit. We're just
I'll tell you how you do it. We'd have to start to have a real presence in Washington. Like Chevy, it's time to hire some lobbyists. You need them out there talking to their congressmen, talking to the executive branch about Blueprint and how it is it's really changing the lives of American creators.
Right. Particularly American creators.
American
Blueprint
creators.
cohort, all senators.
Yes.
Cohort 3 is all
Wait a minute. That's not a bad idea, Chevy.
I think it's a pretty bad idea.
Put the bills on chain, all the legislation on chain, mintable on Zora as coins. I feel like there's something here.
Get some congressmen live streaming on chain and selling that content.
We could coin some new bills,
Hey.
Oh, there it is. There's the plug. Long story short, this is really cool. I think anytime I see a crypto party in Washington, I want to be there. So I think I think there was like a list that came out of who's attending. I don't know how legit that was, but whoever's going, if you're listening to this by the rare chance, let us know how it is. It looks really exciting. You guys also like started memeing coins right now. Zora also announced, there it is. That's the list. I don't know where they get this data.
So there was Chevy, I don't know what you were about to talk about, but I'm gonna jump. There was a whole thing, I don't remember who tweeted it, about how Ethereum needs more representation at this event. And part of the reason that they don't have as much representation as they should is because there are not enough ETH people lobbying in DC. And like how Ripple has a really big DC arm, Solana has a DC arm. Like these companies are actively have boots on the ground in DC and are creating relationships with the US government and have been for multiple years. And it's time for ETH to do it. And a lot of people want to. Is Etherealize on the agenda today? Not Thread, guys. No, that's pretty funny.
I think that there was some noise on Twitter about getting Etherealize people like Danny Ryan and others.
Yep.
I don't know if he formally got invited, but I would assume hopefully that they can sneak in there. But that said, like Kathy Wood, kind of Ethereum related.
Random.
You got Big V.
Okay, good.
He's in there.
Mark Andreessen, Brian Armstrong. Like, there's definitely like Ethereum
good names.
Representation. They're multi-chain, but I don't think like Ethereum's presence will be unknown.
I think Agent Chevy belongs in that group.
I agree. One day, guys, give me some time. Give me some time. Coop, I see you smiling once again, fading me. You'll see one day. You'll all see. You'll all see.
I've never faded you, Chevy.
All jokes aside. I will be there one day, guys, and we will all be there.
Do you want to talk about Zora?
Yes, I want to talk about Zora. Yes, I think a lot of mixed reviews. Frankly, I feel awfully positive about it, and excited to experiment with this new format. Technically, pump fun on base or pump fun on EVM, or at least that's how the public kind of perceived it. And then in addition to that, a fast follow announcing the Zora coin as well, coming in the spring of 2025. Spring has never felt so good. I'll tell you that much. Never.
Let's start. We'll talk about the Zora coin or the Zora token in a second, but let's talk about the coins from the perspective of a creator. I'm really interested on like your take, Adam, if you guys had done any blueprint drops yet with the coins, or if anyone has done personal ones. I think my main take from this, or like my only concern, first of all, I definitely respect Zora for pushing the boundaries here, even regardless of public sentiment. But I think the stat that was kind of hidden here was this one. It was $99,000 earned by nearly 8,000 unique creators, and what that is it's an average of $12 a creator off of $40 million in trading volume. And to me, that's like the weird stat that I'm not fully in love with, but I'm really
100%.
curious to hear what you guys think.
Chevy, you take a first stab at this because you brought up the topic.
Yeah. So you're suggesting, Lucas, you don't think that's a good number? That the average amount is not a good number?
I think creators had higher earnings potential with NFTs, or required less volume for creators to earn more money.
Oh, I see.
Like the $40 million generates an average of $12 per creator, or $40 million generated $100,000 for creators as a whole. Feels like not the right number.
I'll tell you what, I don't know if that math is correct, because something is off in this post, because if you generate at least like $100,000 in volume,
but I saw like I think it was Jason Yanowitz also posted like a picture of the Blockworks team or something, and it did from my understanding $30,000 of volume, and I think he ended up making like $80 in creator earnings, and it just seems like a lot of volume, for the creator to walk out with.
I think one thing to not dismiss also, that the creator gets a certain supply up front the second they create. So the market cap is also like a fraction of that is valued within the supply that they get off the bat for creating the token. And I am frankly very excited about this, because I think there's a happy medium of mixing the coins model with the additions model. And I think that's the thing to double, triple, quadruple down on and to pay attention to. And it just became a lot easier to create incentives and to figure out a way to use traditional tokens like NFTs as a publishing medium to then use the coins as a way to drive volume and funnel volume through that, where you could actually align incentives with everybody in a much more optimal way. So I'm a fan of it. I think you got to respect Zora from a founder's perspective, that they keep annexing certain features that they release that brought them to a certain point in their journey, and then consistently iterating. So on a founder level, it's great. And then on a creator level, I'm also have mixed feelings, but I remain optimistic and I trust their team, and just learn, pivot, adjust. That's where my head's at. Yeah.
Definitely, we've been getting a lot of chirping in the Roki chat about how the art coin that we launched for the first Roki episode doesn't show up on Zora anymore, because it's like an 1155 ERC20 type token. And so even though it has like 100K market cap, it's not even in the list of top coins on Zora, nor is like any of the coins from like the whole art run era. So I put myself in the Zora shoes. It's necessary. It's progressive. It's what you got to do to keep moving forward. I put myself in the shoes of the creators that have been trying to kind of keep up with this new meta. And it seems like every time there's a new format that gets released, the people who are kind of a part of the experimenting and using along the way definitely catch a little bit of blowback for it. I also would just kind of +1 Lucas sentiment around creator earnings being the biggest thing that I still struggle with this model. I think that creators being able to get paid more for putting their content on chain is the most important thing possible here. The biggest reason why I'm still very into the collectibles model is that the creators are getting paid a very healthy amount per amount of dollar that's spent on the actual content itself. As a trader on Zora, I have not been compelled to put like 1 ETH into any of these coins. I also feel like I've been very hesitant to believe that any of them can do anything significant. And so I kind of find myself, I was on it today earlier before this call, scrolling and looking at the top coins and whatnot. And I'm just like tossing in like 0.01, 0.05. And I think what's challenging for me is, again, I'm an anomaly. I'm not the target user. Let's preface everything with that. Is like, even if I put in 0.01 on a coin, you know, which is like 20, 30 bucks or something like that, and then it goes up 10x, you're not really making like the same gains that people are really going for on like the pump.fun side of things. So I think that it is a positive step in the right direction, but I just don't really know what success looks like right this second, or like how we get there in a way that makes both crypto traders excited. And then most importantly, the last thing I'll say is I still don't understand how you sell this to regular people. I don't understand how you sell like the idea of like market caps and volume and being able to buy and sell the coins and whatnot. I think there's like a lot of education that's still needed here. So I'm really curious to see how it goes. I didn't see this launch and go like, okay, I need to change all of my mints to coins immediately. I'm still very much in the, what Chevy said, which is like, there's a shit ton of power in minting and the amount that creators can get paid for it. And my personal belief is that coins are almost an added secondary experience after the creator has gotten a sufficient amount of income that makes the secondary market worth playing for everyone else who supported it in the beginning.
Yeah, I would agree with that wholeheartedly. I think one thing that you mentioned, Coop, is like, what does success look like? And I would assume, like, from my perspective, success on this model would see multiple content coins going to multi-million-dollar market caps, getting listings, you know, all that kind of stuff.
Getting listings though, like, do we think that's a real thing?
No,
I don't think it's off the table.
Why? No, I don't think it's off the table.
Yeah, exactly.
No?
Like, if
Why
it's
would it be off?
if it's $100 million market cap doing $10 million a day in volume, like, of course, exchanges are going to want to list it. It's money on the table.
I just think that that's not a barometer for success here, is the way I would think about it.
What do you think Zora is tracking then internally on like what success looks like?
Volume, how many people are minting these? Like, I don't think they care whether it gets.
But isn't volume like?
I don't think listing. I mean, there's a whole. I don't think getting listed means
listing is not in a like a massive success or like their KPI, but it's more of like a signal that it is succeeding. Like, content coins are relevant.
I guess
you're a funny guy.
The my underlying feeling, sentiment around this is that listings don't matter as much as they used to.
Why don't you click on that just keep clicking coin there, Lucas?
Yeah, what's that?
What is that? That one looks pretty good, huh?
Just keep clicking. Oh my god. I keep clicking. I can't stop.
Just keep clicking. Go ahead, buy some.
Keep clicking.
It's not
creator
stopping.
earnings, $191. So let's say, hypothetically speaking, if one of us were to deploy this token, how would we feel about getting $200 in creator earnings from this?
For $50,000 of volume.
Not great.
I don't feel the best about it, but that's not I don't know if that's the intention of this experiment.
What I think is what I think is interesting is like this actually seems like one of the larger holder lists that I've seen. 2,000. Any ideas on how they achieved that holder list?
I don't know. It's quite peculiar.
Quite peculiar.
It's pretty impressive.
We had the creator on this pod. We can maybe talk to them.
No, I think that the trade-off there, though, is like, obviously as the creator, you get 10% of the supply, which is kind of Zora's way of justifying you don't need trading fees to get paid. You have a percent ownership in the token. In my experience, trying to communicate to artists that they own a percentage of the supply, they think they just have that in outright money. They think like, okay, I can sell that today and just get that immediately in dollars. I'm like, oh no, if you sold it, you would fuck the chart. You're not going to get as much as you have in the holding because it's going to be slippage and whatnot. And so I just think on my end, like, this is a good foundation for the next chapter of content on chain. I just don't think we really were able to give like low priced minting and collecting a real shot to like real people. You know what I mean? And it almost feels like in a lot of ways we're like leaving behind the last couple years of progress in favor of like the meme coin meta. And I'm not willing to let go of it quite yet. Call me a Japanese soldier, but I still think there's a lot more to be unpacked on the collectible side of things.
I feel like this is a change of tune, Coop, from some episodes back in October, November when we first started NAC. But
that's because I tried it. I tried it a couple times. You know what I mean? And we've launched these meme coins and we've launched these song tokens and I've seen what people want out of them. And I think that unless there is a means of distributing these coins to real people for value-added actions to promoting this content, in its form factor in and of itself, it is extremely reliant on speculation. And in the absence of high volume, it doesn't really have a point or a purpose. And so the entirety of the focus, in my opinion, should be around like, how does the founder of Just Keep Clicking give this to people who have never collected other things on chain before?
Totally. I do think like a really good application for this is like, Coop, if you're hosting a concert, being able to give everyone $5 of like the I Just Need token,
Absolutely.
you know, for coming in. And like that actually has value. People can maybe sell it, maybe they can hold it, they can kind of do whatever. Versus an NFT that they're just like, okay, it's like a little receipt and maybe there's not a secondary market or anything. So yeah, I think there's something to be said there about having tangible experiences that these coins are used for. But
I view these coins as loyalty programs for creators, and I view, as I said to what I said earlier, I think the happy medium comes between mixing both formats, and these coins are used as currencies in a creator's greater economy, and they could be used to spend on certain commerce. Eventually, the creator will have certain products that they'll release on chain that they'll be able to use by spending the currency that they end up earning from doing things within their economy, or the tokens that they end up buying OTC. I think the greatest mechanic that will be used to onboard the normies is by helping them earn the underlying currency and then finding ways for them to spend that underlying currency and then for them to earn more of that underlying currency. And I think if you could perfect that hook, I think that's what coins embody for me over here. And that's actively what we're experimenting at Blueprint.
Are you telling your creators to coin stuff on Zora instead of doing mints and running quests on them?
I'm telling the creators on Zora to actually find a happy medium between both. That's what I'm doing.
What does that look like?
It's basically launching their own coin on Zora and then running mints against that. That's what I'm telling them. Yeah. And we haven't actively done that just yet as of this episode, but we've run experiments internally to test that concept out and to deploy like fundamentals around the said token that we release on Zora. And it's proven out to be really fun so far. But we still have more tests to do before we kind of bring it out to everybody else at Blueprint.
Yeah. Coop, how are you feeling currently about like distributing the song coins to minters? Are you still actively doing that, or is that kind of something on the back burner right now?
That's all we do. Every day we buy our song coins, we run a campaign, get mint fees, use the mint fees to buy back the song coin, and then redistribute it. People don't care about what the reward token they get is. They just want to make it easier to buy things on chain and be able to make money on it. And so I think that there is like a very cool fundamental loop that can start to emerge from that behavior. I've noticed that we need to be extremely consistent about the buybacks for it to feel sustainable in some way, shape, or form. But I just think the missing thing here is like the people getting these coins need to understand what they are and like actually believe in them. And it's kind of hard to instill belief in things that are more finite. And I think that to David's point, when you said like, and it's a, oh, there's going to be coins that get listed on exchange. What David, I think, was getting at, correct if I'm wrong, is that exchange listings historically have been for like projects and companies that have long-term roadmaps. And that's very different from a piece of content that may be viral for a period of time. And I think that with our songs, there's songs that have moments that are viral in some way, shape, or form, but you're not shipping product updates or roadmap updates on a song or a piece of content. And so it's a very challenging dynamic to hold up from like a tokenomics perspective.
That's not true. That's not true. Well, the coins that got launched through Pump Fund that broke 1 billion market cap, then got exchange listings, they don't necessarily have these crazy detailed product roadmaps.
They have teams that are marketing them consistently and pushing out mimetic culture, and they have Telegram groups, and they have like
incredible content.
Here's my thing is that there's really nothing preventing someone from coining content on Zora and running that same playbook. Maybe it doesn't. I don't really see the difference. To be honest,
in my mind, because then you'd have to only post about that one specific piece of content versus like a creator's brand. Like you have to solely index on that one specific post. If it's a video or a photo or a song in this case scenario, that's like telling an artist you can only talk about one song for the rest of your career. And what I've noticed in my experience is that artists, when they have a song that goes viral, they fucking hate that song. They're like, I don't want to listen to this thing anymore. It's all people want to hear. Like they take videos of it every show, and now I'm sick of it. And so that would be the case scenario where a coin goes to like $1 billion market cap, and realistically the artist or creator of that coin is probably like, I hate this thing because there's so much. And now you add in the speculation of it where people lost money because they bought it at $1 billion like Peanut, and it's down to like 50 mil or whatever now, and people are like, what the fuck?
That's
I
your
got
fault
completely
for
ripped on this.
buying Peanut at $1 billion.
But people don't rationalize that. They put that blame on whoever told them to buy it, which in the case scenario of a very popular Zora coin is the creator shilling the shit out of their content.
Mm-hmm.
Should we shift over to the Purple app? See what's going on over there.
What's going over?
Had a couple of things happening on the Purple app. I think the first one that we had was there maybe minor news here. They're partnering with Crypto the Game for the next season, and there will be a special mint tomorrow. Not exactly sure what that means, but definitely getting a little traction on the Purple app, among a few other things.
Do you think Farcaster OGs will get an airdrop?
No.
Hell no.
No.
Wait, like a Farcaster coin airdrop?
No, like entry into the game.
Yeah, no way.
Just trying to find some value from a NFT that Cooper advised me on, back in the day.
Yeah, I'll stand by that one, David. Come back on in a couple years.
I will also stand by that one.
I'm still holding.
I think that one's got
still
legs.
Holding well relative to like everything else.
Yeah.
Which one?
It's honestly hasn't gone down that much.
Farcaster OG. But isn't it on Zora? Am I remembering this correctly? Isn't that mint on Zora chain?
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. It's all OpenSea volume now.
I don't know.
Anyways, I got a nice care package from the Crypto the Game team. They sent me basically like a Survivor banner flag type thing and just like a nice little note that said like, thank you for playing season 3. We look forward to having you in season 4. So that was nice. I had a fun experience with the last round of Crypto the Game. It was extremely time intensive. And so I don't necessarily feel a strong urge to want to like participate actively in this round, but I'm interested to see what happens since they have been acquired by Uniswap and are leaning more into frames and stuff like that. I do think it's going to be like a very significantly enhanced experience from the last time where we were just playing Flappy Bird, basically. Other Farcaster news, on-chain trending notifications.
Yep.
This is something that I was really excited about. Basically, my synopsis on it is that there is now a way to see what people on Farcaster are trading in real time. So you can see here, native people are trading it, balloons being trending right now. I think this will also apply to mints as well as to tokens. And so the other week, I was able to mint something from a push notification that Farcaster ran that said, hey, here's a trending mint. Please go ahead and collect this. And selfishly, I think that the bull case for someone like myself is that there can be like a trending on-chain tab here. There's a recommended song that someone mints, and the number of organic minters increases because they received the push notification to collect the newest that has the song.
I would agree. I think notifications are really powerful. Do any of you guys have a Frame V2 yet implementation?
No.
Nope. Soon.
We're not like you, Lucas.
I have one that's in the works, but still just you right now. I'll actually give you a lot of credits that this is the thing I think you've been doing the best job of right now is the Frame V2 and then the playlist that you guys just launched and going after like more core canonical crypto culture. Do you want to talk more about like the playlist with pods and the Farcaster one and the base one you just announced?
Yeah, so we're effectively doing curated content or curated playlists. This is currently gated for the pods team to kind of like dog food the tooling for creating a playlist. This is obviously something that we want to release for everyone. So, you can curate specific playlists with episodes that you've collected. And really the key here is just trying to pull on the affinity card of why people collect stuff. There's a specific project or a specific guest that they really like, and they're willing to collect and support that person. I would say as a whole, Frames V2 has just been really powerful. You get a lot of things out of the box that we're not even using yet. One of them is just the notifications that we were just talking about. And then what's also interesting is that earlier this week, they announced Warpcast Frames rewards. And right now they're going to be giving out USDC to developers of frames based on the number of opens and the transaction volume happening through your frame. Right now, the rewards is going to be the first week. I think they're doing like $1,000. But similarly to the Warpcast leaderboard, I'm assuming that they'll scale up the rewards over time to something a little bit more meaningful. But yeah, really cool to see that. I think Pods is currently ranked number in the top 20 for most used frames on Farcaster.
Cool.
But I think the downside is like I don't really see it that much in the tangible like mint numbers. Like, yeah, we're getting, a couple mints here and there, maybe like let's call it 20 additional mints every day. It's not really moving the bottom line. But you are seeing like more organic traction when you do post an episode as a frame or like this playlist. You do see more mint activity. And this is in combination with the frame and also like the Warpcast wallet. So people have ETH balances and money to use to mint and whatnot. So
and just good brand exposure for you. That's been the thing that I've seen as the biggest takeaway is people are just posting more about pods as like a company. People are quote retweeting it, and Base is retweeting it, and Farcaster's recasting and stuff like that. So I think signal wise it's pretty good. And I actually think that while the best thing for you is mints, the more practical thing to be tracking is probably just plays.
Yeah.
Like, are people listening to these episodes more? Are they like adding them to a playlist? Are they saving them? Are they actually listening to the episode itself?
Yeah, it's a really not ideal experience right now in a Frames V2 because you don't trigger the playback. So like if I click this, I want to click listen to the episode whenever it loads. Of course, when you got to do a demo, it just wants to break. Oh, there it is. And you close out of it, it stops. So you have to stay in 100%. The frame. So one thing
I feel like I flagged that too.
Yeah, we've asked the Warpcast team just to be able to trigger the playback so it can happen in the background, and ideally have some sort of way to like either go back to the pods frame or just have a basic media player to control whatever is playing in the background. So there's a lot to improve there for us to like really start seeing plays be a big difference. And this is actually what Random Error called us out for, is like, this is a shitty playback experience, and it's like our hands are up at this point. It's not on us right now, but
it's always on you, buddy.
Yeah, it always is. I think the last thing I'll say on this, and you kind of mentioned it, Coop, is like the specific curation of these playlists. So like being able to do a Farcaster playlist, tag in the Farcaster team, hey, we just built this playlist for you guys. Can you help promote it? Same thing with the base thing. And you can kind of just rinse and repeat and go down the list of like major projects. One thing that I'm really excited for is like maybe pairing this with like a token project and seeing if they'll allocate token incentives or maybe airdrop to the top collectors of this playlist, that kind of stuff, where you're seeing a little bit more alignment between the token project and the underlying content. So lots more to happen here, but really cool to see some basic traction and just like good marketing and branding happening.
Totally. Love that.
FarCon. Who's going to FarCon?
Yeah.
I'm 50-50.
Oh, it's in New York, huh?
Well, you guys should know that the application's closed, and I don't think any of us actually applied yet. So
I did apply, and I have a ticket.
Oh, nice.
Lucas.
The Farcaster guy has been on top of it. All right, come on.
I like that.
Should I just show up? Just go to New York and show up?
I'm sure, I don't think maybe not the core summit, but I'm sure that there will be plenty of side events.
So Lucas is saying just get fucked, Devin.
Yeah.
Don't even try.
I mean, I don't know. You can always try. It's worth a try.
I think we can always try. That's what we learn here at NAC.
Just keep clicking. That's what they say.
Just keep clicking.
Just keep clicking, guys. I think, did we talk about the Zora coin? I think we like the Zora, Zora token.
We did kind of gloss over that.
We didn't talk about the token.
The token.
The
you
token
can't say the
itself.
coin.
Right. The Zora token, the meme token.
The meme coin from Zora, the official meme coin from Zora. They announced this. I think largely expected. I think maybe not the timing of it. No one knew obviously when the timing would happen, but I think most people expected a Zora coin at some point. So interested to see this actually coming into fruition. Pretty standard run of show here. I don't think there was anything super crazy.
Yeah, the 20% incentives is definitely an outlier allocation. I don't see that often.
Yeah, what that I'd assume is going to look like is effectively like
grants.
Volume to earn, liquidity mining. No, I would assume it's going to be something more programmatic and distributing for activity on the platform.
Who do we think's buying this?
I think I don't know what I want to say on the pod. I'll cut myself off.
No, now you have to say it.
I don't know what you're talking about. Clicking.
Got it.
Clicker.
I'm just click.
Just click.
I'm surprised that they I'm not surprised that there's a Zora token coming out. I'm surprised it's coming out this spring because I feel like they're still iterating on their PMF, and to come out with a token while you're still finding PMF feels off.
Yeah.
So I'm like,
I think
yeah.
maybe more specifically, it's launching the token so quickly after this product change, where it still might be up in the air. And it feels like with the token, the Zora token, and this new model, you're kind of locking yourself in there.
Yes.
In some capacity.
Yep.
Maybe not though. I don't
No,
know.
why?
I think
I think
it really
it's a pure
just
regulatory
depends.
play. It's like timing from a
Well, the
regulatory
meme,
standpoint.
I think the meme coin piece is definitely like, this is a meme coin, blah blah blah. I think that's a regulatory piece. But it's more of a question on like where these community incentives go. And yeah, that's probably the big open loop for me.
Interesting.
Like I was thinking about this. Like, do you guys see a future where Zora pivots back to NFTs?
Yes.
Yes. I think it's
Yeah.
possible.
Yeah, totally. I could see that.
Do you think they'd look silly doing that?
Who cares?
No, I think by the time
the reality
Yeah.
is nobody cares. Nobody's
no one
gonna.
cares.
Nobody's.
No,
No.
that's fair.
No one cares. Like the
Yeah.
people that they're maybe trying to onboard, the masses, they don't know the difference. Like we know the difference. Farcaster community knows the difference. Maybe crypto Twitter knows, but they don't. Like who cares? Like people don't care. They're just trying to find the most optimal way to bring content on chain and to bring value to content. And I think they're valuing content based off market cap and not necessarily off creator earnings. In this iteration, to show that wow, this image is worth 40K, you know, or this image is worth 1K, and maybe there's more flaunting and there's more what's the word, like there's more of like a show off component. Say like, look what I created that's worth 40K, and I own a certain percentage of it because I created it and I earned some fees on all the trading revenue. Maybe there's a better narrative in marketing that from a creator standpoint that there is necessarily in the old way of creators making money. Maybe it's not about that. And I think they could totally wind it back if they figure out in the next iteration that wait, a combination or this plus that is a better model to bring value to content on the internet where information is inherently free but also get creators paid. I don't agree with that. I don't think they're going to look stupid at all.
I said silly. By the way.
Silly, funny, awkward, whatever.
I'm with Chevy. I think that low cost NFTs are going to come back. I think that's where they were. I don't know why they pivoted away from it. There's probably a lot of reasons they pivoted away from it. But I think everybody on this call has found some form of product market fit with selling NFTs, digital collectibles, whatever you want to call them. I think that they're going to have a huge space in the digital economy. And I think Zora is going to sell NFTs again. No doubt.
Cooper, Lucas, you're awfully quiet.
They don't want to
I feel like we've exhausted this topic.
Yes, I agree.
Okay.
I think we've exhausted this podcast, maybe.
Yeah.
Just call it. Last episode of NAC.
What? No.
Maybe the last part of the episode, though. You know, maybe this is we've come so far, you know.
I think we got everything on here. I mean, the only thing else that I could see that's on this agenda that we didn't talk about is probably, let's give a little ETH Sun Valley recap, Lucas. Honestly, that's the last thing I'd like to hear about is how'd you feel about the weekend? Really appreciate you having us out. Anything you want to share on that front?
Oh, I mean, I think ETHSV was sick. We had a fantastic time. I'm actually more curious about how you guys experienced it as guests.
I loved it. I feel like
loved it.
I absolutely loved it. I loved being in Sun Valley. I loved Idaho. It was much different than what I had expected, even though I didn't really expect much. So honestly, Lucas, you guys killed it. You and the Fire Eyes team. You welcomed us with open arms. You fed us. You really showed us awesome hospitality. I feel like I got time away from the screen that allowed me to reflect on things that helped me overcome some like roadblocks I was facing, and just by having like random conversations with people there. And I had a great time. You're a legend for hosting it.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Plus one. I definitely enjoyed it a lot. Obviously, I'm not a skier, nor is Chevy, but we made the most out of it. I thought that the concert on Saturday night was super fun, and it definitely felt like a more intimate version of EthDenver. My recommendation and feedback would be that I didn't find as many consumer builders as I would have liked to have found there. I thought that the general makeup of people was much more on like the infrastructure or like DAO tooling side of things, which makes sense. And obviously, it being FireEye's kind of coordinated event, that's like logical to me. I would just ask that there is more representation from a lot of the type of projects that we're collectively working on with here. But other than that, I thought it was great.
I had massive amounts of FOMO, which means you did a great job.
What I will say is that I think Cooper, I've known Coop for a long time. I've seen him play some music before, and I will say his ETH Sun Valley set was by far my favorite one that I've ever seen Coop perform. So I want to shout out Coop for absolutely crushing it. He was bringing in the moms. The Sun Valley moms were loving it. They were absolutely, he was going old school classics to heavy fucking shit that I don't listen to, and he was mixing it beautifully. It was a fantastic time.
When's it coming on chain, Coop?
It's not recorded, so it won't be on chain. You had to get it in the moment.
You had to get it IRL.
You should have heard that.
That's the real stuff right there.
You should have heard limited edition Coldplay to Fall Out Boy transition. I still think about that till today.
To Skrillex.
Pretty good.
I mean, there was like some serious
pretty
transitions.
Pretty good.
All right, guys. Well, that was a fun episode. Knack. As always, if you're still listening, you can find this episode on chain at pods.media/Not A Cartel. All episodes are available to mint forever. You support us directly. Maybe eventually we'll do something cool. Who knows? Thank you all for joining another episode.
Thanks, guys.
Cheers, everyone.
Thank you.
Cheers.